This story might just change your night. If you're going through a hard time right now, just watch this video until the very end. You know there are days when everything just falls apart, when a heavy, unexplained weight settles deep inside your chest. In moments like these, a person doesn't need a therapist, and they definitely don't need generic advice like just think positively. Sometimes a person just needs one. Right. Story. What I want to share with you today sounds incredibly simple. At first glance, it's just a regular plot, ordinary words. But that's only until you understand why grown, strong people start crying when they hear it to the end. I'm not promising that your problems will vanish into thin air, but I can promise you something else. The next few minutes will give you silence, peace, and that fragile sense of hope we all desperately need right now. You'll feel an inner relief, and perhaps most importantly, you'll finally realize that you are not alone. Just get comfortable. Put away everything that's troubling you. We need to talk. Have you ever noticed just how exhausted everyone is these days? It's a new kind of modern fatigue. It doesn't come from physical labor. It comes from the endless, never-ending noise. Social media, news, to-do lists, and the constant race for someone else's picture-perfect success. We constantly compare ourselves to the images on our phones, and without even noticing, we begin to drown in anxiety. It feels like life is racing ahead at full speed while you're left standing on the sidelines. Or worse, you're running as fast as you can, but you're stuck in the exact same place. That is what emotional burnout looks like. It's when you wake up in the morning and you already have zero energy to face the day. The scariest part is that we've learned to hide it. We go outside, greet our coworkers, and smile. On the outside, everything looks fine. Just a regular person who has everything under control. But what happens when you're left all alone? In an empty room? In your headphones on the way home? Inside, there is only a ringing emptiness, loneliness in a crowd. You keep moving forward, doing your chores, mechanically replying to messages, even when you are completely empty inside. And you get used to it. That's the truly terrifying part. Getting used to the feeling that joy is gone, leaving nothing but an endless cycle of, I have to. But it doesn't have to be this way. Sometimes a person just needs one single moment, one short pause, one deep breath to stop, drop the heavy baggage, and want to live again. Once upon a time, a man. This story happened to a very ordinary person. There was nothing extraordinary about him. He wasn't a movie superhero or a favorite of fortune. He was just like you and me, with his own fears, debts, broken dreams, and a chronic lack of time. It was a late, bleak evening in late autumn. You know that kind of weather, when the cold rain beats against your face and the wind forces you to wrap your coat tighter around yourself. The city was falling asleep. The streets were emptying rapidly, the pouring water washing away the day's chaos. He was walking on foot because he didn't feel like going anywhere. Only one thought kept looping in his mind. I can't handle this anymore. Everything I do is pointless. The loneliness that evening felt almost physical, like a heavy damp fog creeping under his clothes. He felt completely lost in this massive, indifferent metropolis. He didn't know yet that in just a few minutes, a chance encounter would change everything. In moments like these, we don't usually expect miracles. We just want to crawl into bed and forget ourselves in sleep. But life has its own plans. He turned into a small, dimly lit alleyway to hide from the wind, and right there he heard a phrase that he would never be able to forget for the rest of his days. Under the awning of an old, closed coffee shop sat an elderly man. A worn, battered notebook rested on his lap, and next to him stood a paper cup of cheap tea, with a faint trail of steam rising into the air. The old man didn't look homeless. Rather, he looked like a street philosopher, quietly observing the world without any rush. Our hero stopped to light a cigarette. His hands were shaking from the cold. The lighter just wouldn't catch. Silently, the old man handed him his own, an old brass Zippo with a warm, steady flame. After lighting up, the young man wanted to say thank you and walk away, but the old man softly spoke. "Heavy burden, son?" The young man smiled bitterly. He wanted to snap back with some sarcastic remark, but instead he just sighed. "I'm just tired of everything, tired of work, tired of always being broke, tired of watching everything I touch fall apart. I feel weak, like a failure who can't even fix his own life." The old man looked at him. There was no pity in his eyes, only a deep, endless understanding. Silence fell. The only sound was the rain drumming against the metal awning. "You aren't tired because you're weak," the old man said quietly, looking out through the sheet of rain. "You're tired because you've been trying to be strong for way too long." The young man froze. Those words hit right home. "You see," the old man continued, "people look at you and only see the shell. Nobody notices how many battles a person fights silently inside their own head. We all carry invisible scars, and life, it doesn't owe us perfection. It's not supposed to be a straight line of success. The pain, the failures, the mistakes, they are all temporary. This isn't the end of your story. It's just a difficult chapter. But the person is always more important than their mistakes." The old man took a sip of his tea, and a faint, gentle smile appeared on his face. "You feel like right now you have to turn around and fix your entire life, repair everything all at once, overnight. But that's impossible, and you don't need to. You don't have to save the world today. It's enough to just get through this specific evening. Just survive this moment. Take one breath. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Allow yourself to just be." The young man stood there in the rain, and in that exact moment, something inside him broke open. The tension he had been hoarding for years began to slowly melt away, dissolving into the raindrops on his cheeks. He suddenly felt so light, as if a massive boulder he'd been carrying on his shoulders had finally crashed to the ground. He didn't have to be a superhero. He was allowed to just live. Why this story heals people? Why does this simple dialogue hold so much power? Why do thousands of people, when hearing about two strangers meeting in the rain, feel a lump form in their throat? The answer is simple. We all desperately want to be understood. Deep down, every single one of us carries a secret weight. Most of the people around us, at work, on the subway, in the grocery store, are hiding their pain behind polite smiles and a casual, "I'm good." We lock our fears away and dread looking vulnerable. That's why dry advice from self-help books often fails. It speaks to our intellect, but stories like this speak directly to the heart. They heal us because they strip away that eternal suffocating debt we think we owe to society, the debt to be successful, strong, and cheerful 24/7. This story reminds us of fundamental truths we tend to forget in the hustle. You don't have to be perfect for anyone. It is okay to be tired. It is okay to feel scared and lost. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And most importantly, even the darkest, heaviest period of your life will not last forever. Night always gives way to dawn, no matter how thick the clouds look. And when you truly realize this, a long-awaited relief sets in. How to apply this to life? Okay, we've heard the story, but what do we do next when the video ends and you're left alone with your thoughts again? What do you do tomorrow morning when the familiar routine and anxiety hit you all over again? First of all, stop, literally. When you feel panic or exhaustion starting to overwhelm you, take a pause. Stop pushing yourself so hard. Stop demanding immediate answers from yourself. Understand this. You can't cross an ocean in a single stroke. Don't try to solve all your life's problems in one night. That is a direct path to a mental breakdown. Focus on the power of micro steps. Ask yourself, what is one good or helpful thing I can do for myself right now, in the next 5 minutes? Take a piece of paper and just dump everything that scares you onto it. Clear the mental clutter out of your head. Put on a jacket and go for a short walk without your phone. Just breathe the air. Disconnect from social media for at least a couple of hours. Stop consuming someone else's filtered, curated reality. If things are incredibly hard for you right now, if it feels like there is no future, make a deal with yourself. Just endure and get through today. Make it to the evening. Tomorrow will bring a new morning, new thoughts, and new strength. Protect your inner peace as if your life depends on it. Because the truth is, it actually does. You know, there is a very subtle but vital nuance that we rarely think about. The strongest people, the ones who withstand the heaviest blows of fate, often look quiet, humble, and completely normal in everyday life. They don't scream about their problems. They don't demand pity. You can never, do you hear me? You can never know for sure what kind of hell the person sitting across from you on the bus or selling you coffee is going through right now. Some people are smiling with the absolute last ounce of their strength, just to keep from breaking down in tears. And since we are all in this massive, sometimes stormy boat called life together, let's be a little kinder to one another. Sometimes a single warm word, an understanding look, or a genuine "how are you really doing?" can literally save someone from a breaking point. Be attentive to those around you and remember, without even knowing it, you yourself could be the reason someone decides not to give up. Your presence in this world matters. We have reached the end of our conversation. I promised you at the very beginning that this story could help you breathe a little easier. I hope I managed to give you these few minutes of peace. Please, take one simple thought with you today. You are not alone. Your struggles are not a permanent label or a life sentence. This is just a storm, and it will pass. Even the darkest, most miserable chapters in books always come to an end, making room for something new. I would really love to know what you are feeling right now. Leave a comment below. Which phrase from this story resonated with you the most? What are you going through right now? Share your own micro story. Let the comment section be a safe space where you can speak your mind without fear of judgment. I promise I will read them. If you like this kind of format, if you need stories that help you breathe a bit lighter and restore your faith in yourself, subscribe to the channel. We will pause this crazy world together. And finally, if you watched this video all the way to the end, maybe you really needed to hear all of this today, Sometimes a person just needs 5 minutes to feel hope once again. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.